How many times have you been sitting in your room and suddenly felt that there was someone in the room? Well, how many times have you been thinking about a friend and suddenly he calls you on the phone? There are some strange phenomena that occur in the world, and they happen to me personally, and we do not know the reason for them. As for its scientific explanation, even scientists know its explanation, but they admit its existence. In this episode, I will give you the 5 strangest paranormal phenomena. These strange phenomena are certain that even one of them has happened to you personally, and until now, no one knows their categorical explanation. Let's start the episode. Queensland phenomenon or serendipity as an explicit species. How many times have you been thinking about someone when they call you at the same moment? Well, how many times is there a sweet person, and if in the morning he knocks on your door, how many times do you and your friend think of the same idea with the same details in the same second? This kind of strange coincidences that have no scientific explanation is considered one of the most paranormal phenomena that baffled scientists. Physical science does not have the ability to explain this phenomenon because it is beyond the scope of experience. There are some coincidences that are even crazier and weirder. One of them happened with a guy named Joseph V. His story is really very strange. One day, Joseph was walking in a street in Detroit, in the safety of God. This was in the year 1930, and suddenly, while he was walking, he passed in front of a residential building, and a small child fell on his head from the balcony of one of the high apartments in that building. Joseph was miraculously able to catch the child and save him from certain death without either of them being harmed, which people considered at that moment a coincidence, the closest miracle. The story did not stop here. A year after that strange incident, Mr. Joseph happened to pass by the same street in Detroit, passed in front of the same building, and unbelievably the same kid fell on his head from the same balcony and saved him for the second time in the same way as the first time a year ago. The second phenomenon is the déjà phenomenon. Have you ever been sitting in a coffee shop? And suddenly a cup of coffee fell from you, but I felt as if this situation had happened to you before. You feel as if this situation is repeated. When and where? And how? You don't know, but you're sure you've been in the same situation. Don't worry, you are not the only one who has this situation. This phenomenon is called dryness. It is certain that you have heard of it, even once in your life, and whoever has not heard of it, then continue. Déjà is a French word meaning already seen or witnessed. This phenomenon happens to millions of people around the world, so imagine with me that more than 97% of the people who have undergone experiments and research have confirmed that they have tried it at least once. And the scary thing is that more than 2/3 of people said that they live this phenomenon regularly and non-stop. The strange thing is that despite the tremendous development of medicine, there is no conclusive scientific explanation for it until now. The second hypothesis is that excess amounts of dopamine may be causing the chicken's experiences, as one research study of temporal lobe epilepsy showed elevated levels of dopamine in rodent models of the temporal lobe branch. The third hypothesis says that the use of influenza drugs specifically are from the regulation in cold and dead propane. The use of these twins leads to a sudden appearance of the phenomenon of recovery and in abundance. You may ask, and where did they conclude this information from? The story began when I wrote a study on the case of a man who took this combination of medicines to treat influenza infection. Shockingly, immediately after using this mixture, he began to suffer from several consecutive bouts of noise at 1 hour. This man felt that something strange was happening and the medicine he was drinking was the cause, so he stopped drinking it immediately. Both of these types are among the properties in them except for reducing flu symptoms, of course, is that they work on the dopamine system in the body. It is believed that the seizures were caused by an excess of dopamine in the body system for no reason. Did you know that dopamine is associated with a sense of happiness? Personally, now my dopamine level will rise if I click like and subscribe to the third channel, the apparent weakness or disappearance of things and their return. Have you ever felt that there are things that disappear, whether in your home or in your office, and then reappear again without knowing how this phenomenon became known and famous, and it is an abbreviation for the word 70, or you doubted me? This phenomenon usually develops around an object or a tool that a person has just used or always keeps in a certain place, such as keeping the key on the table or lying on the sofa. When the person goes to take the key or hat from its usual place in which the shocker leaves it, and he does not find it, and he may ask a slave or his wife finds her whereabouts, but no one finds her. Despite the extensive search, the strange shocker is that after only a short time, or maybe sometimes the next day, the person is surprised to find that missing thing, the key and the hat, in the same place where he always put it. I did not know that this phenomenon existed frankly until I searched the internet because I myself suffer from it. How many times have I turned the whole house in search of a phone charger or a book and did not find it even though I put it in a specific place? Imagine with me that I turn over the entire sofa and find neither the charger nor the book, and the eye is something else that has disappeared. How many times have I turned the whole house in search of a specific thing that was open, for example, and I did not find them despite my great fatigue in searching? I always remember that I put it in a specific place and after half an hour or an hour searching. After I'm the idea of a final topic. Imagine that I find that key in the same place where I put it. Although I originally searched in that place, did he disappear? Then he came back? Is it hidden by a jinn or a demon? After searching the internet, I learned that there is an abnormal phenomenon called 7 or fix in our day. Scientists believe that there are many hypotheses that may cause this phenomenon, after which they are scientific and logical, and some of them are supernatural and beyond. The most common possibility is mental wandering, where the person is simply not focused and thinks about a lot of things at once, and the person may have put the thing in a place other than its usual place or forgot its place and not looking for other possible places. And the belief of a firm belief that it is in the usual place. The second premise is evil spirits. This matter is present in many films, especially horror films, in which a jinn, demon, or ghost appears who moves things in the house or makes sounds. The same thing happens in the dove phenomenon, where the interpretation says that an evil spirit in your house is responsible more than others by moving your watch, key or hat. Sometimes the reason is strong if that thing has something to do with a deceased person, such as an old watch or an old hat that was owned by your grandfather or a necklace that was owned by your grandmother. The fourth apparent religion or conscious dream. I will tell you a personal story with this phenomenon, and here I discovered it for the first time. When I was young, it was my dream to buy a bicycle and learn to ride it, so much so that I dreamed about it on a regular basis. Once I had a dream while I was riding a bike and imagined that at that time I was very young. I may have been 13, a quarter of 15, or 15 years old. I was dreaming that I was driving it in the neighborhood without any problems, but in a moment and inside the dream, and I still remember this exact moment, this dream. At that moment I realized I was dreaming. I was fully aware that I was sleeping and dreaming. I was conversing with myself inside the dream. I say it can't be realistic. I must be dreaming now. No, I don't dream, I'm sure I'm dreaming, and the reason is that I cycle professionally, even though I don't even know how to drive a bike. At that moment inside the dream, I felt failure and sadness, so what did I do? I went to sit under a tree, put the bike in, and sat waiting. What are you waiting for, Yusuf? Waiting to wake up from the dream. I finally got up and was in bed. What I told you now is a true story from my life, and I did not know that it is a phenomenon experienced by millions of people until I created this video for you after searching the internet because of this phenomenon. It is a dream. This strange phenomenon makes the person while he is sleeping feel that this dream is the tangible reality, meaning that you know inside the dream that you are dreaming, and therefore you can act in full awareness just as you act while you are independent. The best part is if you are having a nightmare and you can tell that you are dreaming. The nightmare may turn into a funny scene in which you make fun of the nightmare. Many people developed this skill until they were able to control their dreams, and many became proficient in this matter, such as the friend Abdo, where he said in a comment on one of the posts, "I can control my waking up when I see a dream that I do not like," and this is true. You can train yourself to control dreams. If you have a story of this kind, share it with us in the space group. The phenomenon of people with shadows or shadows. Imagine that you are sitting in the safety of God in your room doing some homework on your computer, or that you are in the living room watching TV. Then, in a moment, you felt as if there was someone in the room. You felt an object. You felt the shadow of the presence of this object. It made you turn right and left, and it made you turn back to see if it was behind you after you turned left and right or backward to see anything, but you did not find anything. A few minutes pass, then the same feeling occurs again. You feel that there is someone in the room. You move your eyes left and right without moving your head. Once again, you do not find anything. You start with a little doubt, then expel the idea from your mind, expelling it on the pretext only that you are tired, and you may imagine if you say to yourself, "Yes, this is exactly what happened to me." And for those who fear a lot, do not worry, there is neither a jinn nor a demon nor a demon. This strange phenomenon is classified as metaphysical phenomena or paranormal phenomena that have no physical explanation through scientific experimentation. The majority of those who describe this case say that this creature has the same color as the shade, meaning black to dark gray, and takes the same shape as humans, meaning that it may be in humans. He looks like a man in a long black coat, and at the same time it is difficult to impossible to notice even part of their facial features or the details of their composition. Some say that they can have a 2- or 3-dimensional shape and composition and are called the owners of misguidance or polytheism.